Hi, and thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Phil, aka Phil, and most of you know that I have a sweet spot for retro style cameras, but also relatively small and compact cameras. And first of all, if you have recently joined my channel, thank you for your time watching my videos and also for subbing. And for those who have joined my channel early, a special thanks to you who supported me this long. At the time of this recording, I recently bought the Fujifilm X-E5. And in that video, I basically shared that I'm planning to shoot this X-E5 next to the Nikon ZF and also my OM system OM3, because these are retro style cameras and they all three serve a different purpose and also a different shooting experience. And as I mentioned in that video, all of these cameras I bought for my own money. I'm not obliged to any kind of brand obligation, and I can speak freely about my opinion. And it was quite interesting for me that reading all the comments you have shared below in that video. As I said, very interesting for me because between these three cameras, there are basically three cams who are supporting the ZF, who are supporting the OM3, and also who are supporting Fujifilm or the X-E5 in general. First of all, thanks a lot for all your comments. And that basically confirmed me that you are interested in that kind of comparison, and I will also create content about these cameras individually, but also some kind of comparison. But when I was reading through your comments, I was also curious about one specific point, because that topic came up a lot in your comments, and that's the price point. A lot have mentioned that the X-E5 is overpriced for what it is. A lot of have mentioned the same about the OM3, and a lot of you also mentioned that on the used market. I also mentioned that in the past myself, that the ZF for the current price is also a no-brainer, you could say. And I was curious what you guys would think if you throw in a Leica Q into the mix. In my opinion, the Leica Q is not a retro style camera, so to say, but from the design and experience, it does feel a little bit like that, because here, of course, you have also all the dials. Here the shutter speed, your aperture ring, and this dial you can also customize for your ISO. So you can get a lot of tactile experience also shooting with the Q camera. If I put all of these cameras next to each other, you could say that all of these four cameras are in the same price range. I know that that depends highly on your country, but overall, if you also include the second market, used market, they are roughly in the same price range. Why I'm curious about your thoughts, because that price topic comes up every time. Based on that, your preferences is even more important, but what you value out of that budget of yours. And I was curious, would you consider a Leica Q camera, the original Q, more than an X-E5, a ZF, or an OM3? Because thanks to my friends at Fotoprofi Sling, I was able to get this Leica Q, the original Q, the Q1. You can see that it's almost mint condition here. For, you could say, if I want to do an international price comparison, I got this basically for the X100VI or X100VI money. And for that price, you can get the X-E5 body only. Again, I know that depending on your country, it's a different price. For that price range, you can also get a Nikon ZF body only, depending if you are lucky or not. For that money or a little bit more, $100 or $200 more, you can also get an OM3 used for that money. Which one would you choose if you had the choice between these four cameras? The pros and cons on the Leica Q are relatively easy to summarize. You have a fixed focal length here on the Leica Q, with this almost legendary 28mm 1.7 Summilux lens. Although the downside of this lens is that it's in reality more like a 25-26mm lens. Based on the age of this camera, the EVF is the worst out of these three. Other than that, you have a relatively compact camera, full frame camera with this awesome lens, 24 megapixels, and an awesome image quality. Some say that the Leica looks exist, and you can also get that out of the Leica Q cameras. Some downsides about this camera is the slow autofocus. I get only kind of precise autofocus only in single shot, but to be fair, I compared this camera also with the Leica Q3, and the Leica Q3 is not that much of an improvement regarding the autofocus performance. Autofocus is only valid if you shoot single point autofocus. Besides that, the Leica Q1 also has no weather sealing. The weather sealing comes with the Leica Q2, but that's obviously a much bigger price increase. And for that price, you get basically a relatively cheap Leica camera. As I said, I bought this camera for X100VI money, but I also currently observe here at my local marketplace, but also on eBay, that the prices go between 1,500 and 1,800 euros. You could get a Leica Q for that kind of money. As I mentioned, that would place the Leica Q in between these three cameras. Again, I'm quite curious, which camera would you pick if you had the Leica Q available in that price range? Because all the other three obviously have the advantage of changing lenses. Also, based on their form factor, they have different sensor sizes. XE5, the APC, Nikon ZF, full frame also, and here OM3 with the Micro Four Thirds having the smallest sensor, but you have all the computational photography stuff in here, and also the advantage of much smaller lenses. This, the 25mm, 50mm full frame equivalent, is relatively small as you see and has an aperture of 1.8. Here on the other hand, if you compare the XE5 with an pancake lens like this TT Artisan 28-8 lens, you get even a smaller package. As I mentioned before, nothing is sponsored here. Everything was bought with my own money. Just want to emphasize that. At the time of this recording, I got this XE5 just for a week now. I do discover here and there now the pros and cons between these four cameras, but I want to shoot the XE5 a little bit more before I share you my thoughts and comparison thoughts about these four cameras. But this video is also serves a little bit of a stack out what kind of content you want to watch. So share me your thoughts below in the comments below. Which one would you pick, and what kind of content do you wish to see in the upcoming weeks while I'm collecting experience, you could say, between these cameras, and I will do my best to create these videos for you guys. If you're asking me which camera I would pick, I definitely would have a hard time to choose that, because right now I would not be able to choose just one. I would probably end up at least with 2 or 3 cameras out of these 4, but time will tell which one I will prefer, because already now I can see several pros and cons of each individual camera, and it's highly depending on your use case, which camera you value more. Also, I think during the time of uploading this video, I will be on vacation with my family for 2 weeks in the Netherlands, and I will bring with me these cameras with me, and there I will also shoot these cameras in the field and collect therefore more experience. Just a quick video today, and as I said, I was curious about your opinion, what you would think about, if we throw in the Leica Q into the mix. Curious what you would pick, but also what kind of content you would like to see in the upcoming weeks. If you made it until this point, Thank you very much for your time watching. You are the one who deserves the like for that. If you want to support my small little channel, check the affiliate links below in the description or buy me a coffee, link also in the description. And if you're curious why I got excited about a small telephoto lens for the OM3, just click on this video and have a nice day.